still dark outside when the pounding started. Not a knock, not a tap. A panic-filled, desperate pounding that shook my front door hard enough to rattle the frame. I blinked at the clock. 5:02 a.m. Nobody shows up at that hour unless something is terribly, painfully wrong. Half awake, I threw on a sweatshirt, my heartbeat already racing. Every instinct in my body told me I wasn't ready for whatever waited on the other side. Opened the door. And there he was. My neighbor, Gabriel Stone. Quiet man. A man who barely ever said more than a polite, good morning. A man I had lived next to for a year without truly knowing anything about him. But the man standing in front of me was nothing like the calm, collected neighbor I thought I knew. His face was pale. Hands shaking. Breathing hard like he had sprinted a mile in the cold morning air. And his eyes held something terrifying. "Don't go to work today," he said, voice trembling but firm. "Please, stay inside. Whatever you do, don't leave." For a moment I genuinely thought he was joking. But one look at him and I knew. He wasn't. "Gabriel, what's going on? Did something happen?" He shook his head. But the tension in his jaw, the fear in his voice. Something wasn't right. "I can't explain right now," he whispered, leaning closer. "Just trust me. You'll understand by noon." Before I could press him, he stepped back, scanned the neighborhood as if someone was watching, and walked away without another word. He didn't look back. Not even once. And suddenly, the world felt colder than the morning air. A logical person would have called it paranoia, breakdown, stress. But logic didn't silence the shiver that crept through me. Not when there had already been signs. 3 months ago I lost my father. A sudden death. A stroke, they said. But he'd tried, desperately, to tell me something before he died. Something about our family. Something that couldn't wait anymore. Then he was gone. And after that, the strange thing started. A black car parked outside my driveway for hours. Unknown callers staying silent on the phone. My younger sister overseas asking, out of nowhere, "Have you noticed anyone new around you?" Pieces of a puzzle I never understood. Until that morning. My name is Alyssa Rowan, 33 years old. I work at Henning & Cole Investments. I don't skip work. Ever. But that day, something made me stay. Not fear. Instinct. I texted my manager and said I had a personal emergency. Then I waited. Time slowed. Every sound in my house felt amplified. The refrigerator humming. The wind tapping the windows. The creak of the floorboards. By 11:30 a.m. I started to feel stupid. No mysterious danger. No Gabriel. No explanation. Just silence. Until my phone rang. An unknown number. "Ma'am," a steady male voice said. "This is Officer Taylor with the County Police Department. We're contacting employees from Henning & Cole. Are you aware of the incident that occurred this morning?" My blood turned to ice. "What incident?" The officer paused. The way people pause when they know the next sentence might shatter someone. "There was a violent attack at your workplace," he said slowly. "Multiple employees were injured. According to our records, you should have been present." My knees nearly buckled. "I wasn't there," I whispered. I stayed home." Another pause. "Ma'am. Someone at the scene told us you'd received a warning not to come in." Froze. "How do you know that?" asked, heart pounding. "Because," the officer said, "your name was on a list we recovered from the attacker. List of targets. And mine was near the top." In that moment, one truth slammed into me. Gabriel didn't just save my life. He knew something. Something about my father. Something about the strange cars, the silent calls, the danger circling my life. Something someone didn't want me to uncover. And at 12:01 p.m., as I stood there trembling, staring at my silent phone, I saw Gabriel's front door open. He stepped outside. And this time he walked toward me. His face calm. His eyes no longer terrified. Like a man ready to tell the truth. What he said next would shatter everything I believed about my family, my past, and who I really was. The officer's voice didn't waver, but his words felt like a hammer striking a wall inside my chest. Miss Rowan, your car arrived at 8:02 a.m. Your ID was used to enter the building. Security saw you on the 3rd floor before the attack. My knees buckled. I gripped the edge of the kitchen table just to stay standing. Someone had used my identity. Someone wanted the world to believe I was there, even though I had been hiding inside my own home all morning. Officer, I whispered, I didn't go to work today. I haven't left my house. A heavy pause filled the line. Can anyone verify that, ma'am? I looked around my empty living room. Quiet felt sharp, accusing. No, I whispered. I live alone. The officer's tone shifted. More rigid, more official. At 11:47 a.m., an emergency alert was triggered on the 3rd floor. A coordinated attack took place. You were reported missing from the scene. We need to locate you for your own safety. And for questioning. Questioning. My stomach twisted. Then he added. We found evidence at the site. Items belonging to you. For a moment my mind went completely blank. Gabriel. His terrified face. His trembling hands at 5:02 a.m. His warning. Don't go to work today. Someone had planned this. And I wasn't just a target. I was a piece on their board. I wasn't there, I said again, forcing my voice to stay steady. Someone must have cloned my badge or wait. A sudden terrifying thought hit me. My car. In the footage. Did you see who got out? Another pause. The footage is partially corrupted, he replied carefully. We only see your license plate entering the garage. We do not see the driver. My heart thudded violently. This wasn't identity theft. It was identity replacement. Someone had recreated my morning, down to my car, my ID, my routine, to frame me or erase me. Before I could ask more, the officer said, Units are on their way to your home, Miss Rowan. Do not leave the premises. Something in his tone. Not threatening. Not comforting. Just final. A cold realization spread through me. If someone had been impersonating me, if someone had walked into my building using my name, then the police arriving at my door might not be coming to protect me. They might be coming to take me. The moment the call ended, I shut every blind, locked every door, turned off the lights. I replayed every strange moment from the last few weeks. A man in a black suit parked across the street, watching my house. Emails from unknown senders asking if I'd be on site Tuesday. The feeling, the certainty, that someone had been in my home when I wasn't here. It wasn't paranoia. It was preparation. And whoever planned this had been patient. Suddenly, knock, dark, controlled, not angry, not hurried, just deliberate, froze. Another knock. Then a voice. Alyssa. It's Gabriel. Open the door. We need to talk. My chest tightened painfully. I moved toward the door silently, careful not to step on the creaking floorboards. I didn't open it. How do you know the police called me? I asked, my voice low, trembling. There was a long silence on the other side. Then Gabriel spoke. His tone steady but filled with something heavy. Alyssa. Because I'm the one who stopped them from getting to you the first time. I kept my voice steady as I spoke through the door. How do you know the police called me? His answer came back low. Controlled, chilling. Because they're not coming to help you, Alyssa. They're coming to place you under federal custody. You were never supposed to wake up in your own bed this morning. The world tilted under my feet. What are you talking about? I whispered. Gabriel didn't raise his voice. He didn't panic. He simply told the truth. They staged that attack to wipe out everyone in the building. Beep. And you were never meant to be a victim. You were meant to be the one they pinned it on. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. And now, he continued, they need you alive long enough to confess to something you didn't do. A full-body chill ran through me. Whoever orchestrated this didn't just want me dead. They wanted me overwritten, rebuilt as the monster behind their story. Whatever happened at noon, it was never about the building. It was about me. I opened the door slowly, not because I fully trusted Gabriel, but because I trusted fear even less. As soon as the door cracked open, his eyes snapped to mine. Focused, scanning every corner around me like he expected someone to lunge out of the shadows. Without asking, he slipped inside and shut the door behind us. "They're already coming," he said, voice tense. "You have minutes, maybe less, before they arrive and declare this house a crime scene." I folded my arms tightly across my chest, trying to breathe. "Why me? Gabriel, tell me what's going on." He didn't answer right away. He moved to the kitchen window instead, lifted one slat of the blinds, and watched the street with the intensity of a man expecting an ambush. Then his voice dropped. "Alyssa, I didn't move into this neighborhood by accident. I was assigned to watch over you. By your father." Felt like the ground cracked beneath me. My father? Well, that's not possible. My father was an accountant. Gabriel turned, his expression dark with truth I wasn't ready for. "Your father never worked in finance. That was his cover. For almost 20 years, he was involved in a covert federal investigation. And you were one of the reasons." Cold, hollow silence filled my lungs. "What does that even mean?" I whispered. Gabriel reached inside his jacket and pulled out a thin black envelope, one I had never seen before. "He left this for you. Told me to give it to you only if the worst happened." My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single handwritten note. "Lissa, if you're reading this, what I feared has begun. You're not in danger because of something you did. You're in danger because of who you are. There is more to your identity than you know. Gabriel will tell you the rest. Trust him as you trusted me. Do not surrender yourself. If they take you in, you will disappear." Ed. My knees nearly gave out. My father had known. He had tried to prepare me in whispers and half-finished warnings. I thought he was being dramatic. Now those memories felt like messages from beyond the grave. Gabriel looked at me softly, almost apologetically. "They're not just framing you, Alyssa. They're reclaiming you." Reclaiming. My voice broke on the word. "You were never just a civilian," he said. "Your birth wasn't random. Your identity wasn't created by chance. Your father uncovered a classified biogenetic program, tied to powerful families and political bloodlines." My breath stopped. "When he refused to let them take you," Gabriel continued, "he became a liability. His death was no accident." The room tilted. "You were supposed to be erased next. But when they realized they could use you, they changed the plan." I swallowed hard, my throat tight. "Use me as what?" Gabriel stepped closer, voice heavy. "A scapegoat. A manufactured villain to justify their next phase. A tragedy with a face, your face." Every strange moment these past months hit me at once. The parked car, the silent phone calls, the shadowy figure watching my house, the emails, the feeling of being followed. None of it was paranoia. It was the prelude. So all of this was staged to destroy me. I whispered. Gabriel's jaw tightened. "Not just you. Your legitimacy. Your father's evidence. If you're labeled a national threat, they can seize every file connected to his investigation and bury the truth forever." He reached into his jacket again. This time he pulled out a metallic keycard, marked with a deep red emblem that seemed to pulse under the kitchen light. "This," he said, placing it in my hand, "is access to the storage vault your father used. Inside is everything he uncovered. The real reason they're after you." He took a slow breath. "And if you want to survive tonight, we have to leave. Right now." The tablet felt heavy in my hands, heavier than a piece of glass and metal should ever feel. "It contains the names of everyone behind this operation," Gabriel said quietly. "If you don't reach that vault before they reach you, everything your father died protecting will vanish forever." I looked down at the keycard, then at the letter from my father, My father, who I had judged as distant, distracted, closed off. And now I knew the truth. My whole life, I'd believed I was forgettable, ordinary, a background character in my own story. But I had never been hidden because I was insignificant. I was hidden because I mattered. Because I was the missing piece in a puzzle that powerful people wanted buried. The sound of sirens cut through the air outside, distant at first, then rising sharply, racing toward my street. Gabriel checked the window. "They're here," he said. His expression didn't change. No panic, no fear. And for the first time since this morning, neither did mine. Fear requires uncertainty. And now, everything was finally beginning to make sense. I folded my father's letter carefully, slipped the red emblem keycard into my pocket, and met Gabriel's eyes. "Show me where we need to go." He nodded once, firm, decisive. That single nod marked the end of the life I had always known, and the beginning of the truth I was born to face. We sprinted out the back door, cutting across the yard. Gabriel's SUV was hidden behind a neighbor's fence, parked there deliberately, concealed like a getaway vehicle. We climbed in just as the first unmarked vehicles screeched around the corner. Black, tinted windows, government plates removed. The sirens cut off abruptly. They didn't need them anymore. They weren't coming as law enforcement. They were coming as retrieval. "Get in," Gabriel ordered. I slammed the door shut, and the SUV lurched forward so hard I was thrown back in my seat. Through the rear window, I caught a glimpse of two men stepping out of a black sedan. They didn't look panicked or aggressive. They looked confident, purposeful, like they weren't chasing a person, but reclaiming property. That word echoed through me like a bruise. Property. We hit the highway fast, weaving through traffic, and after a few minutes, something strange happened. The panic drained out of me. The shaking stopped. The fear dissolved into something clearer, sharper. It felt like a switch had flipped inside me, like a key turning in a lock I didn't know existed. For the first time, I wasn't running because I was terrified. I was running because I finally understood what they were trying to take. 20 long minutes passed before Gabriel spoke again. "There's something you need to see," he said. "Before we reach the vault." He handed me a tablet. File was already open. Rowan Alyssa. Subject 7B. Designation: Genomic Asset. Project: Origin. Status: High priority. My heart stumbled. I scrolled. Gene expression anomalies. Blood markers not found in ordinary humans. Complete immunity to multiple viral strains. Potential regenerative properties. Clearance for Phase 2 integration. Phase 2. The words felt like ice. "What does that mean?" I murmured. "Regenerative. Immune to what?" Gabriel kept his eyes on the road, hands steady on the wheel. 20 years ago, your father uncovered a clandestine biogenetics program, he said. They weren't working to cure disease. He took a breath. They were creating people, engineered from birth with enhanced immunity. People who could survive outbreaks, chemical exposure, biological warfare. My pulse hammered. "So, me," I whispered. "I'm one of them." "You're not one of many," Gabriel said. "You're one of 7. The highway lights washed over his face in flashes of white. "Your father was never supposed to find out," he continued. "But he noticed inconsistencies. Your medical files, undocumented blood tests, samples taken without consent." My stomach twisted. "He tried to pull you from the program," Gabriel said. "But that wasn't allowed." The truth hit me like a physical blow. "So he leaked it," I said softly. Gabriel nodded. "He took evidence to a federal oversight board. They ordered the project shut down." "But it wasn't," I said. "No," Gabriel replied. "Instead, the people running it erased the investigation. And then they erased everyone connected to it. Everyone, including my father." My voice shook. "They poisoned him, didn't they?" "It wasn't a stroke." Gabriel nodded once, jaw tight. "A neurotoxin developed by the same program he exposed." Closed my eyes. For the first time I saw my father not as a quiet, distant man, but as someone who carried a war on his shoulders. Someone who fought alone in silence to protect a child he knew would one day be hunted. Gabriel continued. They planned to retrieve you on your 33rd birthday. It was the final marker in your file. I swallowed hard. But something changed, Gabriel said. Your blood test last month triggered a system alert. It showed your immunity levels had increased faster than projected. I stared at him. So suddenly, I became a high-value target. He nodded. And that's why they staged the attack at your workplace today. To eliminate witnesses. And replace your identity with the one they needed the world to believe. The SUV turned down a darker road. Toward whatever truth waited for me in that vault. And whatever I was becoming. It contains encrypted files that name the people behind this operation. If you don't reach that vault before they reach you, everything your father died for will be buried forever. I stared at the keycard in Gabriel's hand, then down at the note from my father. All my life I had believed I was ordinary, replaceable, invisible. Now I knew the truth. I was never invisible. I was never replaceable. I was watched because I was the last piece of a puzzle someone powerful didn't want solved. Suddenly, distant sirens began to rise in the air. Sharp, crawling, closing in. Gabriel looked toward the window. They're here, he said quietly. But he wasn't afraid. And for the first time since that morning, neither was I. Because fear only survives where doubt lives. And I no longer had any doubt left in me. I folded the letter from my father, slipped the keycard into my pocket, and faced Gabriel. Show me where we need to go. He nodded once. A silent agreement. Path chosen. We ran. We barely reached Gabriel's SUV before the first unmarked vehicles turned onto my street. The sirens stopped. They didn't need them anymore. They weren't coming as law enforcement. They were coming as recovery. Get in, Gabriel ordered. The engine roared, tires screeched, and we shot down the street. Through the rear window, I saw two men step out of a black sedan. Calm, practiced, scanning. One lifted a radio to his mouth with the expression of someone retrieving property. Not a human being. Property. As the city faded behind us, something strange washed over me. Clarity. Cold, precise understanding. After 20 minutes of silence, Gabriel finally spoke. There's something you need to see before we reach the vault. He handed me a tablet. File was already open. Rowan Alyssa. Subject 7B. Designation, Genomic Asset. Project. Origin/Rowan Initiative. My pulse quickened as I scrolled. Gene expression anomalies. Blood markers absent in normal humans. Complete immunity to multiple viral strains. Potential regenerative properties. Approved for Phase 2 integration. Phase 2. What does this mean? I whispered. Regenerative. Immune to what? Gabriel didn't hesitate. 20 years ago, your father uncovered a government-run biogenetics program. They weren't trying to cure diseases. They were trying to create a new class of humans who could survive what others couldn't. Breaks. Chemical exposure. And my father was part of this. Yes. He was never meant to be, Gabriel said. He discovered discrepancies in your childhood medical records. He found your blood samples in places he never authorized. My stomach tightened. He tried to pull you out. But they didn't allow that. Streetlights flashed by like streaks of white fire. Gabriel continued, voice steady. He leaked evidence of the program to a federal oversight board. They ordered the project shut down. Instead, the people running it erased the investigation. And everyone involved. I swallowed hard. My father, I whispered. He didn't die of a stroke, Gabriel said quietly. He was poisoned. The same technology they developed. His death was a message. I closed my eyes. And for the first time I didn't see my father as a quiet man with secrets. I saw a soldier fighting a war no one else even knew was happening. Gabriel spoke again. They planned to retrieve you on your 33rd birthday. But your blood work last month triggered a system alert. That's why they staged the attack today. If you had gone to work, I'd be dead, I finished. Or erased. Yes. And now they're going to frame me. They need the world to see you as a threat, Gabriel said. Because no one questions what's done to a threat. We turned off the main road into a dense forest. Cold air seeped through the vents. Somewhere deep inside me something stirred, familiarity, recognition. As if my blood remembered what my mind didn't. An abandoned bunker appeared beneath the trees. Old, overgrown, forgotten by time. Except it hadn't been forgotten. It had been waiting. Gabriel parked and turned to me. You have one last decision, Alyssa. Once you enter that vault you will know everything. And once you know, they'll never stop hunting you. I met his eyes. I've been hunted my whole life without knowing why. It's time I learned what I am. We entered the bunker. The door groaned shut behind us, sealing us inside. Cold air rushed around me like the breath of something ancient. The corridor was lined with steel doors, each etched with codes. My steps grew heavier with every meter we descended. Then we reached it. A circular vault door engraved with a familiar crest. The Rowan emblem. Heritage, I once believed. But now I knew the truth. It wasn't heritage. It was designation. Your DNA will open this, Gabriel said. My breath trembled. How do you know? Your father told me. The vault recognizes his bloodline. And you are the last. I placed my palm on the scanner. Pulse of light. Soft chime. The door unlocked with a deep mechanical sigh. Cold air swept out, carrying the scent of old paper and memory. Inside, black boxes lined the walls. At the center, beneath glass protection, sat a single leather-bound journal. My father's journal. Hands shaking, I opened it. A letter waited for me. My daughter, if you are reading this, then the lies surrounding your life have finally come undone. But know this above everything else. You were never an accident. You were never property. You are proof that human evolution can happen naturally. They did not create you. You were born with what they spent decades trying to manufacture. You are what they fear. Tears blurred the ink. My father didn't die trying to protect a secret. He died trying to protect me. The next page held his final instruction. At the end of the vault was a terminal with 2 commands. Acquisition protocol, surrender. Revelation protocol, expose everything. If I surrendered, I might live. But as a prisoner, if I exposed them, I would become the enemy of powerful people who had already killed to bury this truth. I pressed revelation. The room vibrated. Data streamed across screens. Names, transactions, research logs, internal communications, broadcasting to secured global channels. There was no going back. It's done, Gabriel whispered. You just changed the world. The alarms exploded through the bunker. They had found us. But I wasn't afraid. Not anymore. For the first time in my life, I wasn't living in the shadow of a lie. I was standing in the light of truth. We ran through the exit tunnel as helicopters roared overhead. Searchlights cut through the trees. But I didn't see them as hunters. I saw them as the first wave of a dying lie. And I wasn't running from them anymore. I was running against them. Because I wasn't just surviving now. I was becoming what my father always believed I could be. Not a subject, not a victim, but the beginning of something entirely new.